Hey everyone, John Doyle from Optics EQ, and today I'm going to show you how to apply OptixNOTES. It's one thing having good information, the other thing is how to access it and then how to use it. Okay, so get a lot of questions about how to use notes and all the rest. And well, I think this is going to be a good one. And I think there's two live long shots at tracks that we normally don't cover, but we have horses shipping in. So by the way, it's Monday, so it's usually a little bit less pared down number of tracks available. You can see I'm looking at selector here. We've got Finger Lakes, Indianapolis, Mountaineer, okay, Parks. So I went to Rod. I talked about this before, where we have horses shipping in. You don't want to miss horses that you have notes on that could be valuable. And the other thing to do is when you're looking at notes is not necessarily just the last race. You might want to look at form cycle stuff. So something going to happen 3 back that might point us in a direction, but the horse didn't get the right conditions, the right circumstances the next 1 or 2 races out. So one thing I like to do with OptixNOTES, and it's a filter, is keyword in one of the last 3 races. And so this kind of gives me an opportunity to maybe look at form that might be a little bit dirtied up, like the horse we projected to do better, but didn't because of a particular thing, was it the wrong surface, distance, class, whatever. So I kind of looked at this, and I kind of looked at the 5 horses that are listed here, the 5 entries, and I kind of honed in on 2 of them. One being at Parks, and that's the number 1, Mystical Curlin. That was 1 horse, and the 8, Mommy Bertha, who's running in the first race at Mountaineer today on the turf, sprinting on the turf. I'm going to go to Mommy Bertha first, because the first thing that's obvious about this 8 horse is it's a different horse on turf than dirt, because you just go look at the plots. Look at this huge circle here on standard, and then this big square on surface distance, which is the turf. Now, the thing is the race has to stay on the turf. So we got to pay attention to that. And kind of a little bit of a come from behind horse, and doesn't look like got a lot of speed and attention, but still, this horse is 8-1, and I'm going to go into the grid and show you why I think this horse is a viable contender here, okay? So let's look at the 8. First of all, I want to look at the 8's dirt form. Okay, terrible. I mean, just all C's. I mean, other than the last race, which was a C+. And by the way, it was the fastest number this horse has ever run, 58. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out. So 58, and that's the last race this horse ran. And you notice the projections. Anytime we had this horse on dirt, there's a couple of projections. This horse needs to get back to the turf, Now let's look at the turf races. Okay, completely different. 2 wins, 2 seconds, numbers that are probably on the order of 20 points higher, okay? So this horse is probably 20 points better. So if you just kind of look at this in totality, this horse come back off a layoff, was routing on the dirt, surface doesn't like, slow out of the gate, rushed up, got a pocket trip, shuffled back, and then just didn't keep up. Okay, comes back in a sprint, going really short. Again, a race taken off the turf. So horse hasn't been able to get to the turf. Runs a much improved number, and it was the best dirt number. So if he just comes back and runs his normal turf number based on where he is in his 3rd race off a layoff, he's 20 points better on turf, essentially. So this horse could be running in the mid 70s, and that would pretty much drown this field, right? Because you're looking at the Optics fig range of 62 to 70. This horse is 6-1 in the morning line. It looks like he makes a jockey change. Let's look at trainer jockey here, see if there's anything about this. Nothing, looks a little bit below, but kind of on average. Are there any other things? Just going to look overall. Speed figure wise, we talked about that, so that's not important. Class wise, this horse kind of competes at this level, around this level, but he's a different animal. She's a different animal on turf than is dirt, and got to it from looking at some notes, and it really started off with this turf question mark, turf projection, and then getting to kind of the conclusion that this horse is just a different animal. So that's kind of a way where I found a horse that I normally, not looking at Mountaineer, would come across. Now, horse got to win, got to pay good, but I just think it's a live horse to be on in a race like this at Mountaineer. Okay, so that's the first one. Let's go to the Parks one. go back just to look at the rod here again. So the Park was a kickback horse, and we talked about ad nauseum about kickback and how horses improve dramatically in kickback. We've seen horses improve 15, 20 points. This horse is 6-1 in the morning line, which I don't get. I mean, I don't think this horse can be anywhere near 6-1. You see these shaded things. That means this horse has been running within the Optix fig range. The last couple of races. So this horse is obviously fast enough to win this race. The 60-day layoff, let's look at that. So let's go to the grid and let's look at Mystical Curlin. Okay, so let's look at this horse. This horse hasn't run 60 days, but this horse was intended to run, trying to get it off the turfer at Belmont at the Big A at a maiden special weight, and the race kind of stayed on the turf, so this horse scratched out. So this horse was intended to run. So I don't look at this this layoff as necessarily a negative thing. So he's talked about the kickback. Now that was at $20,000 level. This horse is an amazing special weight, but that was at New York, okay, Saratoga. That wasn't at the at Parks. So you can see the figure range this horse ran in is similar. So this is not really a big jump in class for this horse. Got the kickback in that race. This horse, kind of been dropping. They were trying to get rid of this horse, McPeak Barn. It was like, okay, this horse is not the horse we want, but this horse is kind of, good enough, but not kind of an allowance type horse or a stakes and kind of horse. So they looked to get rid of this horse. They kept dropping this horse down to the lowest level, and then Rodriguez picked it up. It's really interesting to see Jose Lascano come in here to ride this horse. Okay, that's not too typical him riding at Parks. So I look at that as also a positive here. So this horse could get back, if he even proves like what I would expect 10 to 12 points here on the kickback, he could run in the mid 80s, high 80s, which would, again, if you look at the range, put him right there. Now this horse is 6-1 in the morning. I don't expect that, but who knows? I just think this horse is a viable contender. And the other thing I want to just point out, I'm going to just go, if I double click the run line, what it does, it brings up the plot for the last time this horse ran. And so this was the 2 horse, right? So I'm going to go to grid. I mean, this horse ran second. It was beaten 10 lengths, but ran second. And then what I want to do is I just kind of look at all the horses, how they come back and run. Okay. And that doesn't really tell me anything. None of them really won. One finished third and all the rest. But I thought this was a little bit interesting. So if I go say greater than, I want to bring the race that actually the horses all came out of into. And notice this. Now, this was going from dirt to turf. The horse was kind of dropping, going to Monmouth, but still, another horse in the same race got kicked back and improved 16 Optix fig points the next time out. So something to kind of look at. Just thought I'd put that out there. Not really all compelling, but just again a good to know, I would say. So Mystical Curlin, at 6-1, anywhere near that, I'd be betting him. But I would even take 4-1 on this kind of horse. Let's look at the plot on this horse. I think let's bring the plot up too, just to. Plots is a Q1. Circle Q1 square, Q2 square on surface distance. If you look at the quad percentage, kind of neutral. So no negative, no positive. Again, this horse is, had the issue last time, so that probably took a little bit off of his form. The other horses, you have horses that are, Parks, kind of running at Parks, so that's negative. This horse made special weight. This horse will get played some. I'm thinking this horse might have peaked a little bit. The 84 and 82. I don't see upside there in this race. This horse looks slower compared to the others. The 5 is a Saratoga horse, so this horse maybe take some action too, and could be a viable horse, but I don't think there's going to be value there, especially looks like the morning line favorite here, the 5. So I mean, there's nothing here that's really scaring me, so to speak. So I think the 1 is a viable play. So again, A horse shipping to parks from New York, a track we cover, was identified through using Optics Rod. So it's a great tool, especially, the old days we used to use stable notes and all that, whatever it was, and it was hard to track. But at least you had a horse you didn't want to miss. Here, you got a great opportunity not to miss a lot of different horses, and not just, again, the last race, because that doesn't tell you all the story. It's doing notes and doing these interpretive notes for lots of races, lots of horses, that you start to see patterns emerge and things that you can be creative and be innovative. This is the greatest way to be innovative. You need access to information like this to be very innovative. So that's all I have for today. Look for this weekend. Keeneland starts. I'm going to be doing a Pick 5 analysis using Optics Focus. So look for that. That's part of the Silver Plan. If you want more information on Optics Focus, what it means, just go to our website, and any information is in info. It's all laid out nicely by product. So if you want to know a little bit more about Focus, you click that. You click the quick reference guide. And what it does, it gives you some information on what all those fields mean, how we use them, and so forth. So yeah, that's it for me. John Doyle, OptixEQ. Visit us. Also, check me out on Twitter at OptixEQ. Thank you very much.